interrupt this program for breaking news.
Good afternoon, Ken Smith here in the WRAL Live Center. We're following some breaking news on the campus of UNC Chapel Hill. I want to take you right to the alert that went out just about 45 minutes ago. This is what students and faculty and staff on campus were seeing about a little after 1 o'clock. And police report an armed and dangerous person on near campus. Here's what we've been able to confirm. Shots were fired on campus. I want to give you a lay of the land in terms of the situation at UNC campus. If you're familiar with the campus, this is Kenan Stadium right here. This is the bell tower, and of course, that's Wilson Library. We're told that this is the staging area where police are set up right now in and around the bell tower. And this whole area just on South Road have been blocked off. We're working to find out exactly what happened, but here's what we know. University police are advising students to shelter in place, close all windows, and stay alert for any new developments. We've just been on the phone with a couple of students on UNC campus, and one student telling us that she and some of her classmates are in a classroom right now. The doors are locked, the windows are closed, and they're being told to be quiet. Again, this is happening on the campus of UNC Chapel Hill. I want to take you once again to the alert that went out about 45 minutes ago from UNC police about an armed and dangerous person on or near campus. And again, we've been able to confirm that shots were fired on campus, and we're working to find out if anybody is in custody at this point. Want to take you again to the lay of the land there on UNC Chapel Hill. We've been monitoring this story since this happened about 1 o'clock. Everybody is familiar with the bell tower. At this point, the bell tower is the staging area where law enforcement officers and any emergency personnel are set up right now following this situation on campus. We know that this happened just after 1 o'clock in terms of shots fired on campus. We're working to find out exactly what's going on there and how many people were injured, if any people were injured at all. But we do know that shots were fired on campus there at UNC Chapel Hill. The bell tower is where the staging area is right now, and this whole area right now are blocked off because of what's happening on campus. We have crews on the way to this scene, and of course we'll bring you any new developments as we get them. But if you're just joining us, you're just walking into the room wondering what's going on, we're following some breaking news out of Chapel Hill in terms of shots fired. I want to show you the alert that went out from the campus just about 45 minutes ago, just a little after 1 o'clock, talking about a report of an armed and dangerous person on or near campus. We have been able to confirm that, yes, there was an armed person on campus. We have been able to confirm that there were shots fired. We're working to find out if anyone is in custody, anybody injured as a result of shots being fired. We're working to find out exactly where on campus this is all unfolding here in the WRAL Live Center. Again, I want to give you a lay of the land in terms of the campus there at UNC Chapel Hill. You're looking at South Road, which is very popular road. It's one of the main thoroughfares that runs through campus. This is Wilson Library right here. People are familiar with Wilson Library. Down here, Kenan Stadium as well. But I want to focus your attention to the bell tower. That's where the staging area is for where law enforcement and everybody having to do with emergency personnel. That's where they're staged right now on UNC's campus. This whole area right now is on lockdown. We had an opportunity to talk to a couple of students just now. One student telling us that she and her fellow classmates are in a classroom right now. The doors are locked, the windows are closed. They're being told to be quiet at this point. As you might imagine, students are in their second week of class. Today begins the second week of class at UNC Chapel Hill, and I can't even imagine what those students might be going through. Can't imagine what the parents of those students are going through. But we are here to keep you informed and let you know exactly what's going on. Again, let's go ahead and bring WRAL's Dan Haggerty into the conversation. And Dan, we've been tracking this story since it happened around 1 o'clock. What do you know?
Well, Ken, you mentioned what people might be thinking right now, and I'm sure everybody who is getting this preliminary information is always thinking the same thing. They're thinking of the worst possible scenario, but these are bits of information we just do not have yet. All we know at this point is that we're going on about 45 minutes now since the initial alert came out that shots had been fired on the campus and that classrooms and buildings had been put on lockdown. So we are continuing to call police, of course, to try and get the very latest, though we have seen police in action. We showed you that photo just a moment ago around that bell tower area of a police officer holding what appears to be a long gun, surveying that area. Again, we're not sure if they are looking for somebody in particular, if they know who they are looking for. At this point, we haven't heard of any reports of anybody being detained or arrested or taken into custody. So those are, of course, very important bits of information. Now, we do have one reporter there on scene, Luis Fernandez, in the sports department. Luis, you were there, obviously, for an entirely different story. UNC football getting ready to start up, and you were there for a news conference when the alarms started going off on the campus. Give us an idea of what that moment was like, and then how you learned more about what was going on the campus.
Sure, Dan. I was at the Rams Head parking garage when, hopping off the elevator, you heard a cop car kind of make its sirens blast inside the parking garage, which is very loud. It was unexpected. As I left the parking garage, I saw more and more police vehicles, emergency vehicles make their way towards campus. And it's at that point in time that, I learned a little bit about what was happening, about the alert itself. I am now on campus. I'm currently on Stadium Drive, just outside of Kenan Stadium. I have the bell tower right over here. I'm going to turn my phone camera around so you can see a little bit of what we are looking at here. 1 second. So you can see a little bit of what we're looking at here. This is Stadium Drive. You see some emergency vehicle over here. This is on the corner of Stadium and South. For reference, the bell tower is over here next to me. The main activity that we are seeing is on the corner of Stadium and South Road. It is right behind the Davis Library, right next to the student stores. If you were coming on Stadium and trying to turn left, the police will not allow you to make that turn. They're directing you further away from campus. It's right there on South Road that we see the majority of the emergency vehicles. I was over by the bell tower earlier. Still a lot of people walking around. You have some paramedics here nearby, some police with some longer devices of some kind. I don't want to make the assumption it's some kind of gun or whatever it might be. You're seeing people with vests, helmets, and things along those lines. South Campus, where the freshman dorms are, seemed relatively normal. But as you make your way closer to the actual classrooms, to the buildings, the student store, campus is very quiet. Everyone appears to be inside, sheltering in place, as some of the emergency alerts and precautions have detailed. You're continuing to hear some sirens make their way around. A lot of police vehicles and emergency vehicles over here on South Road. We will continue to keep you posted, obviously, here from UNC's campus. But right now, I would say the main area to watch out for, the main area to kind of be aware of, is Stadium and South Road, particular South Road closer to the bell tower. That is where the most emergency vehicles are currently positioned.
Louis, stay with me for just 1 second. Obviously, the people at home, Louis, we're taking a look at Sky 5, an aerial shot. You see the stadium. This is over UNC's campus. Louis's signal, we're able to hear him pretty well, but not able to see his phone signal very well. So give me again an idea, Louis, because you were there and you heard the sirens go off. These are the warning sirens to everyone on campus that something was going down. We know at this point that was multiple shots being fired. After those sirens, how long were they on? Have you heard anything since then? Since those sirens stopped blaring, have you heard anything else campus-wide there?
So the main sirens that I heard were actually police sirens, coming from the lights, coming from the police cars themselves. That is primarily the sirens that I heard. I did not actually hear the campus sirens at that point. Got it. But there were plenty of actual police sirens, as there was a large police presence making its way towards campus. That's primarily what I heard and what I saw. But in terms of that, since then, there just really has not been a whole lot of activity. Things have kind of quieted down in a lot of different ways around campus. I assume that's because people are starting to shelter in place because of the emergency nature of this, because of the alerts that have been sent out. There have not been a whole lot of additional police vehicles, emergency vehicles making their way since this has happened. But for the time being, that South Road Stadium Drive area, that's where the most presence and police sirens are at the moment.
All right, Luis Fernandez, stay in place, stay safe. If you see anything else, please, of course, let us know, and we'll bring that to folks live as soon as we learn anything more. In the meantime, let's get back over to Ken Smith. So, Ken, you're in the live center. You're able to monitor a couple different things over there. I do think it is worth, and I know you have been going back to it, giving people a lay of the land a little bit, because this is a really central area and a well-known